listening to Season 3, Episode 10 of Vixen, a Black beauty and pop culture podcast. If you enjoy what you hear today, please leave a review anywhere you listen to podcasts. Today's episode is the Season 3 finale, the film review episode. Now, let's start the show. Hey y'all, welcome to your season finale episode of Vixen. For people who have been here for season 1 and season 2, can y'all believe that we are doing this again? I absolutely cannot. It feels like, I know I say this every time, but it really feels like time has flown by. I can't believe that soon we will be on season 4. For those of you who are new to the show, the podcast goes by seasons and each season has 10 episodes. This one specifically, season 3, has 11 technically, but basically they have 10 episodes. And then once we reach our 10th episode of the season, we take a short break until the next season. The 10th and final episode of each season is always a themed film review. So for season 1, if you haven't heard it, I would recommend going back to listen. That one was one of my favorites. That is the Video Vixen film review finale. So I watched some films and some documentaries on Video Vixens. For the last season 2, I did a comparison of the Black female friendships on Girlfriends and Living Single. And I'm about to tell you guys what we're going to do for this finale. This is a film review topic that I have wanted to do since before the show started, y'all. Literally before season 1. So I'm really, really excited to present it to you guys today. Today's theme, I mean, if you haven't already read the title, is sex positive Black girls in film. And the movies we're going to talk about today are Just Another Girl on the IRT, Girl 6, and She's Gotta Have It. These movies mean a lot to me because I feel like the first time I saw all of these, I felt like I was seeing the birds and the bees through the eyes of a Black woman. And I had seen movies about taboo topics before, especially regarding women and sex, but never really one through the eyes of a Black woman. So that is why these films are really, really important to me. And I can't wait to talk about them with you guys today. You know, you get to see the birds and the bees, the sex talk through the eyes of a young Black girl. You get to see a single Black girl living her life, not really pressed about men, not living her life for male gratification. You get to see a sex work perspective by a Black woman. It's just, these movies are just, they were groundbreaking at the time. I watched these when I was very young and very impressionable. I feel like I probably shouldn't have been watching these, but that's the only child thing. I got to see a lot of stuff, which I think was helpful and made me a more well-rounded adult. I just feel like there weren't a lot of other movies like this that shared this kind of perspective. So like I said, I'm really excited to talk about them with y'all today. So I did a poll on all 3 movies on Instagram with you guys the other day, and I'm going to share some of y'all's opinions, but first we're going to get into the history of all 3 films. We're going to share some little known facts about the film. I'm going to share my thoughts with you guys, and then we'll get into the answers from the poll. And then we're going to talk about some important announcements for Vixen. This might be a little bit long, but y'all know how we do. My new people, finale episodes are usually at least an hour. They tend to go over, so we're going to be around for a long time. So make sure you grab a drink, whatever your vice is, water, orange juice, some wine, some tequila, whatever it is that you want to do, go ahead and grab your drink so we can talk about these films. All right, let's get started. Okay, so let's start with our first movie. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I know when we did the poll last week, I said, if you haven't seen these movies, make sure you watch them this weekend. But this one you guys may have not been able to find online. So don't feel bad if you haven't seen it. I'm going to try not to spoil this one as much as I can. The first movie is Girl 6. This movie follows Judy, who is played by Teresa Randall. So the character Judy is really frustrated about the lack of progress in her acting career, and she's trying to figure out like if this is really for her. Then she has this one run-in with this pervy, like fetishizing dude who's a filmmaker, and this character is played by Quentin Tarantino. So she has this really creepy run-in. And then she's like, I'm done. Like, she gets really jaded about the film industry and how Black women are treated. So she becomes a phone sex operator. Very, very quickly, she gets enthralled with her work and she starts to find validation in it, so much so that it isolates her from her loved one. So she basically becomes all about this phone sex operation company, which is women owned. And she gets so much out of it that she forgets about her real actual life. So this movie is just like, it's very silly. It's very campy. It doesn't really have much of a plot, but I just love it. And I think I loved it so much as a kid because I had never seen a movie about a sex worker before. So for some reason, really funny, I was allowed to watch any Spike Lee movie. I feel like my mom let me just because it's Spike Lee. But I would never have been allowed to watch Pretty Woman. I don't think I ever even asked her to watch that, but I could watch anything by Spike Lee. So that's how I saw Girl 6. But anyway, now I am a big fan of Spike Lee, but I have been critical of his films because I just feel like he doesn't fully develop his female characters, and they always tend to fall a little bit flat for me. Girl 6 is my favorite Spike Lee movie, maybe. I would say definitely top 3, but this one is not exempt from that. I hate how even in a film about a black woman and her sexual agency, the movie still finds a way to center white men. Like, that just really bothers me. I'm not going to explain what I mean by that because I know a lot of y'all have never seen this movie, and I could tell from the poll that a lot of y'all have never seen Girl 6, so I'm not going to say what I mean by that, but it's the movie's just like, how do we find a way to center white men again and again and again? Like, I feel like race is always a theme in Spike Lee films, and that doesn't bother me, but sometimes I just feel like, come on, bro, like, not in this way. If you feel like you want to throw racism into a film, I just felt like there was a better way to do that in Girl 6. But yeah, it just was weird. I would rather the story just be about her and talking about the misogyny that black women face in Hollywood rather than making it about like her wanting acceptance from white men. But that's literally the only thing I don't like about this movie. And then also just like, we'll talk about this a little later with She's Gotta Have It, but I've also been critical on Spike Lee films just about like the way that black women get kind of demoralized in the movie. Like, he'll create these characters. Like I said, I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going to get into it a little bit because y'all done got me fired up. But anyway, he'll create these characters that are dynamic in the beginning and then they get humbled later on. And I don't love that. You know, I feel like if it's going to be empowering, let it be empowering from top to bottom. But I digress. Anyway, another thing that I love about Girl 6 is the cameos. We got Madonna, we got Tarantino, and we got Naomi Campbell looking bomb. I also love like they have these daydream scenes that Judy has where she's in costume when she's like on the phone with clients. And there's this one where she turns into Foxy Brown. I really love that scene. And that's like the most memorable scene for me. That is what I mean by campy. It's just a really fun movie. Great to watch. Very, very aesthetically pleasing. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching it. I love this movie. Like I said, it is one of my favorite Spike Lee films. I actually wish he would make more movies like this, but I'm going to tell y'all why he hasn't in a minute. Okay, so some little known facts about Girl 6. The movie was released on March 22nd, 1996, after being screened at the Cannes Film Festival. So here's why Spike Lee has never made another movie like Girl 6, y'all. It wasn't his screenplay. It wasn't his screenplay. So Girl 6 was written by Susan Laurie Parks, and this is the very first film that Spike Lee directed that he didn't write the screenplay for. There have been a lot of other movies now that he didn't write the screenplay for that he directed, but this one was his very first one that he didn't write for. Another little known fact that I love, this is my favorite one about this movie, the soundtrack is completely done by Prince. Which is probably, I was thinking about that and I was like, that's probably why it's so hard to find online, because one thing Prince ain't ever played with is copyright. Like, he do not play that. So maybe that is why the movie is so hard to find online, but I don't know. But I love that detail about the soundtrack because the movie is just so sensual, it's so sexy, and it's literally because of the Prince song. If you can find it, you have to watch it. So another little known fact, so Quentin Tarantino, who I mentioned, appears in Girl 6. I believe he plays himself, or they just call the character QT or something. Quentin Tarantino and Spike Lee fell out a year after Girl 6 came out due to a dispute over Tarantino's film Jackie Brown. I think they had always been sort of frenemies because Spike has been very vocal against Tarantino using the N-word in his films, but it apparently became public in 1997 when Tarantino put out the blaxploitation film Jackie Brown, like I said. So Jackie Brown stars Pam Grier, and if you listen to my Pam Grier episode from season, I think it's in season 2. Yeah, that episode is in season 2. So in that episode, I talked about how Quentin Tarantino literally saw Pam Grier at a stoplight and was like, "Hey, I've been writing a movie that is based with you as the main character." And that film was Jackie Brown. And it was inspired by all the blaxploitation films of the 70s. So anyway, Spike again criticized the excessive racial language in Jackie Brown, and Quentin Tarantino fired back with this. This is a quote. "As a writer, I demand the right to write any character in the world that I want to write. And to say that I can't do that because I'm white, that is racist," end quote. So I'm gonna let y'all stew on that for a second. Ciao. Anyway, shut up, white man. Anyway, lastly, I forgot to write down what article I read this in. I was reading like a review of Girl 6 that came out, I believe, around the time the movie came out. And it was just an opinion piece, and it was saying how ironic it was that the movie was literally about the misogyny in the film industry, but it wasn't enough to jumpstart Teresa Randall's career. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because I feel like she still had a good career after Girl 6. Maybe she wasn't like an A-list actress, but I feel like she had a really good career. What do y'all think about that? Teresa Randall is one of those black actresses that when you see her, even if you don't know her name, you definitely know her face. So I don't think she was a failure after Girl 6, but what do you guys think? Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and talk about our next movie, Just Another Girl on the IRT. I was really excited to talk about this movie, y'all. So this movie stars Arian Johnson, who was only 16 at the time of filming. She plays the film's main character, Chantel Mitchell. So Chantel is like the personification of a 90s teenager, in my opinion. The way she dresses, her sassiness, like everything about her is very, very 90s New York. So the movie is set in Brooklyn. Chantel lives in the projects. Her parents work long hours. She works part-time herself. She's often responsible for the well-being of her little brother. It's a very, very inner city, like urban black family experience. Absolutely. Chantel is the type of girl that has her life all planned out. She has good grades. She wants to be a doctor, and she just cannot wait to go off to college. She's really excited about starting her life outside of her parents, outside of her family, basically. And her only real issue is that her parents are strict. They're not super strict, but they strict, you know. And y'all already know when parents are strict with their teenagers, it just pushes teenagers in the opposite direction of what you want them to do. That's just the truth, right? So that is why she's so excited for college, because she just wants some kind of independence. You know, teenagers like to try to gain their own independence, and Chantel starts looking for some outlets to do this. So she starts dating Tyrone, who is played by Kevin Thigpen, and the two start sleeping together. Chantel then gets pregnant, and then she has to decide what to do about the baby. So let me talk about why this movie is one of my favorites. So first of all, this movie meant a lot to me growing up because it felt like it was really just for us. And I don't know if you guys know what I mean by that, but I'll try to explain it the best way I can. I just feel like this movie is one of those indie cult films that only black people have seen. You know what I mean? Like, not that no white people have ever seen this movie, but every black family has watched this movie. You know what I mean? Maybe not anymore, like for you guys that are younger, but back in my day, for the new listeners, I'm 27, turning 28 next month. This was just a movie. This was like a staple film. You know, I feel like many young black girls grew up watching this movie. So it's just like one of those things that's just very near and dear to me, just like Crooklyn, one of my favorite Spike Lee movies. I would say that's probably my number one, and many other movies that are similar. Also, this is one of the only movies about teen pregnancy that has a black female protagonist, and it keeps the film from her gaze the entire time. Don't see it switch to like, what does her mom think? And that might be because of the plot, but still, it's literally from her eyes and her eyes only, and I had never seen anything like it before. I know that some of you guys may not be familiar with it if you're younger, like I said, but this movie taught us a lot about teen pregnancy. And teen pregnancy is definitely way more widely discussed now with shows like Teen Mom, 16 and Pregnant, all that stuff. But this was taboo then. Like, teen pregnancy in a film and it being not glorified isn't the right word, but it not being like a death sentence for Chantel, not to tell the movie, that was taboo. That was a really big deal. Also, not only was this movie from a Black female protagonist, she wasn't someone that was hopeless. She wasn't someone that didn't have any goals or didn't have any dreams or anything. And that is usually how teen moms were depicted in movies. Just Another Girl on the IRT shows us her hopes, her dreams, her talents. It shows Chantel having fun with her friends, enjoying life, all of that. So, spoiler alert on the movie, skip ahead if you don't want to hear this. Chantel keeps the baby. Tyrone and her don't stay together, but they end up healthily co-parenting, and they're still working towards their goals individually, and they're happy for the most part at the end. That is my favorite thing about the movie. If I had to pick a favorite aspect of the movie, it's that the end is not necessarily a fairy tale, but they are moving forward with their lives. You know, Chantel could have really just been a character that represents the stereotypes about young Black motherhood. And like, she does make mistakes. Again, I'm not trying to tell the movie. She does something crazy in this movie, okay? But she shows the viewer to the naked eye that having a child earlier than planned does not mean that your life is over, and that young mothers can still have fruitful lives. And that was really important back then. I feel like my younger listeners are probably like, girl, you can just like watch reality TV and see that. Yes, very true. But movies like this are why we are able to see all aspects of teen pregnancy on TV right now. Also, another small aspect about this movie that is important, Chantel and her group of friends, she has two really close, good girlfriends in the movie. They're very, very ignorant about sex. Like, they don't know anything about sex. Like, they don't know if condoms are necessary. They're arguing over it. They don't know nothing about birth control. So that was the first time, again, that I ever seen these kinds of topics be discussed on my screen by Black girls. But the movie is coming from a place where most young girls probably don't know, like, what this means or what that means. And that's how you end up in situations from not knowing, right? So I really like the scenes in the movie, especially watching it as an adult. I really enjoy the scenes where they're kind of like going back and forth on like what safe sex means and what that is, you know? There's a lot of young people who are having sex but don't know what they're doing. So that is why the movie is really, really important to me. You know how you have sex ed in school or in health class or whatever? Like, I feel like instead of those little like weird films that they show, they really should show Just Another Girl on the IRT, but they won't do that though. Maybe one day we'll get there, but we'll see. And now some little known facts about Just Another Girl on the IRT. So the movie was filmed in 1992 on a budget of $130,000, and it was self-funded. Let me just say that, okay? Self-funded. And they filmed the movie in only 17 days. It went on to win the Special Jury Prize at Sundance in 1993. And did you guys know that it was billed as the very first film ever written, directed, and produced by a Black woman? And that woman, her name is Leslie Harris. So that's why I had to make sure I let y'all know that the movie was self-funded. A Black woman made this movie and funded it all by herself. So the movie ran out of money in post-production. And that means after it was shot. So I'm assuming that means there was no money left over for like the movie rollout, no money left over for promotion, things like that. In an interview with the New York Times in 2018, Leslie said that the author Terry McMillan and filmmaker Michael Moore covered the additional costs for her so that she was able to promote the film. And then it was released in October 1993. So here's another little known fact that isn't so great that I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. This was Leslie's only film. And this is shocking to me because as much of a cult favorite as this movie is, I was really, really surprised that she did not release anything ever again. And it's not that she doesn't want to, which is what I read in interviews. It's just funding issues. It's so hard to get funding. And you would think that her career would have soared after this because this movie is so popular, but it didn't. And I think it might have had something to do with content. I feel like the industry will kind of ignore films that are centered around Black womanhood. Like, some get pushed through, but we see the same projects from the same directors. And it's just crazy because the support for those kind of films is clearly there. Like, we all know, everybody who listens to this podcast, like, we all know that we show up and show out for those kinds of stories, you know, whether it's on TV or it's on the big screen. Like, check the numbers on movies that are centered around Black girlhood, Black womanhood. We go and see those films, but we keep having to fight for those kinds of stories to be told. And it doesn't make any sense to me, but we're going to talk more about that later. I'm going to end this segment with a quote from Leslie from that 2018 New York Times article I brought up a minute ago. So she was asked how the film was made, and here's her answer. Also, this interview is in question and answer form, so that's how I'm going to read it. I actually submitted my script to some of the many major studio divisions. One person said, "We love the script, we think it's great, but could you make her boyfriend Tyrone a drug dealer?" I said no, I wouldn't change it. So I ended up starting a company and raising money myself through grants, but we ran out of money in post. I sent a script to the writer Terry McMillan. She sent a check to help. Also, Michael Moore saw a rough cut of the film and he helped too. You also asked him about what the mostly male white Hollywood execs could do to help open doors for more people of color. That was what the interviewer said, y'all. And Leslie said, "Yes, and I'm glad I spoke up. I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but it was the next year that Ava DuVernay's movie opened the New York Film Festival. What's happening with the film you said you'd give Michael Moore a role in?" Another question from the interviewer. She said, "We're still trying to get financing. It's still rare to have a Black director, writer, and producer making a film with a Black lead female character." The interviewer asked, "Has this been the case since Just Another Girl?" Leslie said, "Yes. After I did that movie, I wrote several screenplays, but little happened. I did a short for Showtime about Bessie Coleman, the first African-American pilot. I went around pitching that for a feature, and people would say the story's not that important. I wrote a movie about a female hip-hop artist. People said that they loved the script, but I couldn't get that financed. I tend to write films that deal with one Black woman's story. That's where it becomes a little tricky in the film industry, and I think it does a disservice to the Black women who aren't getting that kind of role. How do you think more change will happen? Well, I think art really reflects our society, and maybe now with more women speaking up and having their voices be heard, we can see a shift. Maybe if we had more Black executives, they would see the importance of these stories. I mean, how could you not do a film about Bessie Coleman?" End quote. So she said a word in that quote, y'all. She said a lot of words in that quote, but one of the main things I want to reiterate that she said is that she writes films that talk about one Black woman's story, and that is where it gets tricky. So when I first read that she has not done a movie since, you would think that with the push of Black stories being told in the mainstream film industry, as well as the popularity of a lot of Black female directors right now, you would think that we would see more work from someone like Leslie and the rest of her peers, right? When I thought about that after I read that quote about, you know, writing one Black woman's story, I was like, there are not a lot of films where it's just one Black woman's story. It's either she has like some kind of like love interest played by a man who's playing opposite her, who's just as important of a role as she is, or it's about multiple Black women. You know what I mean? So I do think like some kind of roles are restricted, characters are restricted, and it's just really, really sad that this is, you know, not happening for her. Now, this interview is from 2018, right? Things have changed a lot from then to 2021. So hopefully we can see more films like this. Again, I'm going to talk more about this later, but I feel like her quote, that quote from the article kind of summed it up for me, because I was so shocked to hear that was her only, you know, directorial work. But I think that quote really, really sums it up. Like, they want to see stories from Black women, but not certain kinds of stories from Black women. It's too bold. It centers around one woman. They're like, nobody's going to see it. So what do you guys think about that? And now on to our next and final film, yet another Spike Lee joint, She's Gotta Have It. So about this movie, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys saw the Netflix reboot, but we're talking about the movie, y'all. Okay. So Nola Darling, played by Tracy Camilla Johns, is a young graphic designer from Brooklyn. She has 3 love interests, 3 men, and they are Mars Blackman, Greer Childs, and Jamie Overstreet. Now, to me, they're all trash. Like, they're all trash in their own way. No, they really are. Like, Mars is just like broke, and like, he gets on my nerves. That character annoys me, but he cool for the most part. Like, I feel like he has the best personality, but he just don't have much going on. Greer is like really, really just all into himself, very self-absorbed, and he's just like very pretentious. Jamie is more of a control. He's the older one. He's more controlling. And I feel like he tries to manipulate Nola. So yeah, they're technically all trash in their own way. But they really like Nola. So there she is. Anyway, all of them want to be Nola's only man, and they all want monogamy from her. And they're always telling her how to live her life, which is like, y'all have a lot of opinions for sneaky links. Like, y'all need to be quiet. But Nola's thing is that she really doesn't know what she wants, but what she does know is she's going to do whatever she wants until she figures out what she truly wants, basically, regular young single woman stuff. So one of the best things about this film to me is that Nola is allowed the space to explore, and she wasn't the typical character that we saw at this time. A lot of times when you saw a Black female protagonist, she was usually pining for the affection of one man. But I love how she's like, she got 3 men and like she likes them, but she's not like obsessed with them. There's not one that she likes more. She kind of all treats them the same. Like, it just was a very, very different depiction of just dating as a young person. I also love how all the men are so impressed and just so smitten with her. Like, they love her intelligence, her talents. Their relationship with her is more than, just about sex or looks, even though I called them sneaky links earlier, but they still are sneaky links. But still, y'all know what I mean. Like, they have a deeper connection with her. Above all, I think the best part of She's Gotta Have It is all the sexual liberation that happens. You just did not see films like this in the 80s, y'all. I wasn't there, but my mama told me. And like, you just didn't see these kinds of like sensual sex scenes. You didn't see a woman of Nola's lifestyle, just none of it, right? Like, that was kind of reserved for white women, if that. So like I said earlier, there's usually a misstep to me in Spike's work with the way that his women protagonists are captured. And although I love him, it's no different and She's Gotta Have It. So trigger warning, y'all, please skip ahead about 30 seconds here if you have to. If you're sensitive to subjects about sexual violence, please skip ahead. I'll give y'all a second to do so. So because Nola won't make a decision between her 3 guys, Jamie, who like I said is like the older, more mature guy in the situation, so he has a lot more power, and he's able to manipulate Nola, he decides to punish her for not making a decision because he like pressures her to make one before he does this. So he punishes her by raping her, unfortunately. It's a very, very shitty scene. I have no way to describe it. I really don't like that scene at all. But anyway, in response, Nola says, and this is very much a trauma response. I want to say, like, this is a trauma response. Nola responds to the rape, like, while he's doing it by apologizing for being so sexually free. And she actually asks him for his forgiveness. Now, like I said, I do believe that probably happens. And I know that would be a trauma response, but to see that in a movie, it's like, why would you waste time building a character who is so sexually liberated and just so unique for the times, just to have her be punished and shamed on film for being so sexually liberated? Like, that just made no sense to me. What message are we sending? Do you really want to make stories about sexually liberated women if you decide to have them punished for their quote unquote crimes later? Like, I don't understand that. And that's why I feel like when it comes to men writing Black women characters, like, please get like a consultant, call somebody, call a female Black director and get her on the set. Please stop letting like really dynamic characters fall flat because of something that has to do with a man. Like, that is the only thing that bothers me about this movie. I would say out of the 3, this is the one that I rewatched the least because I just hate that scene, like I said. But anyway, little known facts about She's Gotta Have It. So the movie was released on August 8th, 1986. It had a budget of $175,000 and grossed $7.1 million. Also, this was Spike Lee's first film after graduating from NYU. You guys have probably seen the Netflix reboot or heard of the Netflix reboot, which I have dragged to hell and back at least twice on this podcast. I know I brought it up in last season's finale, and I think I talked about it another time at some random point. But anyway, I'm not going to go on a rant about how bad I think it was. But I will mention some of the differences that stand out to me. If I miss any, let me know. One of the biggest differences to me is in the reboot, and spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen either. So in the reboot, the character Opal, who is the woman that Nola is also dating, she's not very much of a factor in the movie. So that was the way that they made the Netflix reboot a little bit more progressive. They added a fourth love interest in Opal. So like they made the character like bisexual or pansexual. I don't remember what Nola referred to herself as or identified as rather, but that was an add-on. Now Opal is a character in the movie version, but she's just like one of Nola's friends. You know what I mean? She's not her love interest or anything like that. Now it's implied that Opal, I don't know if they imply it. I think they might actually say it at some point. But anyway, Opal does like Nola. She has a crush on her, but it's just not like Nola doesn't really, respond to her advances. And I would say that update was really, really good because Opal has like feelings. She's a more dynamic character in the Netflix reboot, whereas in the movie, she's just like, they tried to write her as like a man hater. So see, that's what I mean about the way Spike Lee writes movies. It's like Opal has like nothing to say except for hating men. Like that's just all she has. And to make her like a full lesbian and just base her personality off of hating men is just like so stereotypical and ridiculous. But y'all, it was the 80s, so we'll let it go. So I don't know about y'all, but quarantine has done a number on my skin. I'm trying to be outside this summer once I get this vaccine, so I want to be glowing, glistening, all of that. So I was lucky enough to get sent a package of products from Afoco Skin, and I've been using them for about a month now, and I absolutely love their stuff, y'all. So they sent me the black soap foaming face wash, the Dream Serum, and I have their Jade Roller set. I have been loving this stuff, y'all. I wash my face with the face wash, I use the Jade Roller, and I use the Dream Serum after just to put some moisture back into my face. Love it. It is so nice, perfect for the summer. In the spring and summer months, you don't want to be using products that are really heavy or strip your skin of a lot of moisture. You want to make sure your face feels nice and clean and then add that moisture back in. And these products are perfect. So not only are the products great, the packaging is beautiful, top tier, 10 out of 10. They have great shipping, great customer service, and it's black owned, y'all, and it's black woman owned. Y'all know how we feel about black women over here, so you know I was hyped to try their products. I want you guys to get a chance to try Afoco Skin as well, so I'm going to give you guys my discount code to get 10% off your purchase. The code is VIXEN10, that's VIXEN10. Go ahead and check out their lovely website, check out their Instagram, check out their reviews, and let them know that the Vixen Podcast sent you. But that's probably one of the biggest differences in the movie. Mars Blackman in the movie is played by Spike Lee, black man. In the reboot, it's played by a Latin actor, and I don't know if he's Afro-Latino, but I'm gonna assume he is. I don't remember his name, but I really, really like that actor. I haven't seen him in anything recently, but I really, really liked him in A Star Is Born. Oh, another one. This is actually a huge difference. So the scene that I just talked about, the scene that I was saying I really don't like, that scene is taken out of the Netflix reboot, which I think was tasteful. And they replaced that scene with Nola being catcalled on the street and her like being really upset about it and creating art throughout it. So I think it was really good that they took that scene out and they decided not to do that. And then of course the biggest difference probably is that the reboot is set in today's New York City. So I think it was like 2017, 2018. Whereas, of course, the movie is current for that times. It's set in the 80s. I actually wonder if the reboot would have been better to me if they had kept it if they had made it a period piece and set it in the 80s. But I guess they wanted to update it. It wasn't like the worst thing I've ever seen, but if y'all want to hear my opinions on it, go listen to the season 2 finale because I know I went in. So now we've come to an end as far as discussing the movies and talking about the plot and the facts about it. Now, just thoughts. I've talked a lot about why I love these movies, what I don't like about these movies, what I love about them, all of that. But to sum it all up, I guess the only thing I have to say is Black creators are so, so needed. Black woman creators are so, so needed. Like I mentioned with Just Another Girl on the IRT, like we've proven time and time again that these stories are really, really important to us. And I think we need more stories that have Black women at the center, at the front. We need more stories about young Black girls. I do feel like we're getting more, but it's still not enough. Add them up. Like, add some more. Keep adding more. Keep adding more. I feel like we need these stories more than we have ever needed them right now. And I just want people to fund Black women on their projects. And I want to say to anyone who listens to me, Black female directors and, screenwriters and all that stuff, just keep going. Please keep going. Because like I said, I think we need those stories more than absolutely anything. I don't know what our films are, present day films. And somebody, if you can think of any, please send them to me. I don't know what our present day films are that are going to be a cult favorite that we pass on to generations and generations, like My Funny Valentine, Beloved, Just Another Girl on the IRT, She's Gotta Have It, Crooklyn. Like, what are those movies going to be for us besides Black Panther and the movie Us or Get Out? Like, where are we going to get the stories that are centered around Black girlhood and Black womanhood? I wish I knew a way that I could personally help with that, but I'm broke. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I just really think those stories are very, very important, and I'm excited to see more of them. And I think when we see stories that are made by Black women for Black women, it's very important that we support them. We do for the most part, but like, even if you're not interested in the subject matter, like, please go see it. I just want to see more stories like that from my girls. And I am done with my TED Talk. Let me move on. Okay, guys. So like I said earlier, we did a poll last week on all 3 of these movies. I gave y'all a little homework to go watch them. But I'm going to share the results from the poll, and I'm going to tell y'all my answers as well. So let's get into it. First question was favorite movie of the 2. And the choices were Just Another Girl on the IRT and She's Gotta Have It. We had 55% IRT and then 45% She's Gotta Have It. So that is pretty close. IRT takes the lead, but She's Gotta Have It is really close behind it. I would say of these 2, Just Another Girl on the IRT is definitely my favorite. I feel like I have less criticism for this one. I feel like this one is more memorable to me as well. And I don't know, I just really love this movie. I think She's Gotta Have It. Yeah, I would dump that one out of the 2. So the next question was the exact same question, actually, and the choices were She's Gotta Have It and Girl 6. Girl 6 had 58% and She's Gotta Have It had 42%. So that's, again, very close, but Girl 6 takes the lead. I think Girl 6 is just a really fun movie, like I was saying, and that's probably why it took the lead, because people just love it. It's campy, it's fun. I would agree with the majority. Next question. This is the ultimate winner. Favorite movie of the 2. Choices were IRT versus Girl 6. Again, it was close. IRT had 54. Girl 6 had 46%. Again, I agree with the majority. IRT, Just Another Girl on the IRT is my favorite of all 3 of these films. And I would have to say Girl 6 is a close second. So I agree with y'all. I love that y'all have taste. The next question was who had more game, and your choices were Nola Darling versus Judy. Judy is the character from Girl 6. Nola Darling is the main character, and She's Gotta Have It, by the way. So Judy had 60% and Nola had 40%. I agree, like Judy definitely had more game than Nola, but I'm not even sure if Nola was trying to have game. I feel like she truly wanted them to like be not a throuple. What is it what do you call it when it's 4 people? A cruple? I don't know. Anyway, she basically wanted them to be a team of 4. I don't think she was trying to hide anything. She wasn't trying to like game anybody up. So definitely Judy had more game, but Nola wasn't trying. The next question was which movie had the finer love interest, and your choices were Isaiah Washington, who plays Judy's boyfriend in Girl 6, and Tyrone, who is Chantel's love interest in Just Another Girl on the IRT. 34% said IRT, Girl 6, 66% for Isaiah Washington. I knew y'all wouldn't let me down with that answer because, first of all, Isaiah Washington at this time, like Isaiah Washington in the 90s was fine, like super fine, okay? Him in Crooklyn, when he played Vic in Crooklyn, I swear to God, that was one of my first crushes, okay? Isaiah Washington, I don't know what he be on now. He be on his BS now, but he was very fine in the 90s. So like I said, I knew y'all wouldn't let me down with that answer. The next question was who was Nola's finest love interest, because y'all know she had 3. So I gave y'all the choices of Jamie and Greer, and Jamie has 6%, y'all. Greer had 94%. Okay, so out of the three love interests, Greer was definitely the most physically attractive one. And I actually agree with that for the reboot. The guy who played Greer was the finest of the three in the reboot as well. But also, like, I think you guys might be saying that because I couldn't find a really good picture of Jamie. But honestly, if y'all have seen the movie, he is the worst character because he has that really traumatic scene. So yeah, he's just ugly automatically. I agree with y'all about Greer. So then the next one was the same question with Greer versus Mars, and Mars had 21% and Greer had 79%. Nobody's beating Greer. Greer was super fine. He was a narcissist, but he was super fine. The next question was, who would you rather be friends with? And your choices were Chantel or Nola. 30% said Nola. And 70% said Chantel. So that is a landslide. If y'all listened to last season's finale, y'all already know how I feel about Nola. So for new people, the finale episode last season was just about Black female friendships on TV. We mainly discussed girlfriends and living single, but we brought up other depictions of Black girlfriends on TV. And that is how the She's Gotta Have It reboot came up. And I was saying, I think Nola is like the absolute worst kind of friend to have. Nola in the movie is not as bad as Nola on the reboot, but I would definitely pick Chantel over her. The next question was, whose closet would you raid? And your choices were Judy versus Chantel. This one had 25% Chantel and 75% Judy. I feel like these questions, I always ask you guys in like every poll, but I feel like these always boil down to what kind of style you like better. Chantel definitely represents like that super colorful kind of like alternative Black girl style in the 90s. And Judy's style was like more prissy, bougie Black girl in the 90s. So it just kind of depends on what fits your style more. But I would also agree Judy. She had more stuff that I could see myself wearing. Most relatable main character, your choices were Chantel and Nola. 29% Nola, 71% Chantel. I kind of feel this is the one where I disagree with the majority. I find Nola more like relatable, and that might be because I am an adult. I think my friend Dory said this too. Hey Dory. I find Nola more relatable. It might be because I am turning 28. So like a teen pregnancy, like, you know, kind of angsty teenager is not relatable to me. But Nola is. I feel like trying to date around and see who you like the best or like what you like the best while you're figuring out like your taste, your wants, your needs is more relatable to me than Chantel's story at the time. Now, I wouldn't try to bring all my guys together and basically have them fight to death, but I find Nola like trying to figure herself out and date around. I find that relatable as somebody in my late 20s. The next one, the most important question of all, is which one deserves a reboot? I did not include She's Gotta Have It in this question, obviously, because they've already had one. So the choices were Just Another Girl on the IRT and Girl 6. We had 58% IRT and 42% Girl 6. So again, this is very, very close. But again, I disagree with the majority. I feel like Girl 6 would be the best option for a reboot right now, and I'll tell you why. I feel like we have a lot of depictions of Chantel's story right now. I think we might need like an updated version of it, like maybe where there's an extended ending past like Tyrone and Chantel kind of just deciding to co-parent, because as information has become more accessible, I just don't know if it's like as hard hitting for right now. I think the script would have to be changed around a little bit to have it to appeal to Gen Z. You know what I mean? Because you guys already know so much. I'm talking to my younger listeners right now. Y'all already know so much about stuff just from like being online that I think that storyline would need an extreme update. I think Girl 6 would be really, really interesting to see as an updated version, because there are movies and shows. There's one on Netflix that I can't think of the name right now, but there are movies and shows about women, you know, diving into sex work, but I've never really seen one about Black women doing things like phone sex or anything like that. So I think that would be a more interesting story. I think that would be a really, really fun, like Netflix limited series. I think that would be really, really interesting, especially because Girl Six is, like I said, it's very fun. It's whimsical. It's not too heavy of a movie. That I think it would translate well into just, feel good TV for a Black audience, which I think we need more of because a lot of our shows depict like hard topics and things like that. So I do think this would be the best option for a reboot. But let me know what y'all think. I want y'all to like elaborate on that. Like, if y'all, since this one was the majority, just another girl on the IRT, what do you guys think that would look like in 2021? Like, who do you think would play Chantel? Like, how could the story be updated? Do you even think it needs to be updated? I'm kind of curious on how you guys think that would look in present times. So the next question was most progressive main girl, and your choices were Judy or Nola. Judy had 64% and Nola had 36%. I disagree. I feel like Judy was still kind of like falling into stereotypes about young women. She was fun. She was progressive, but I don't think anyone gets more progressive than Nola. I'm sorry. Nobody's more progressive than Nola Darling. I'm going to keep saying this. Nola Darling invited 3 of her dudes. I want to say another word, but I ain't going to say it. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Nola invited 3 of her dudes over at the same time. Judy just could never, okay? Judy could never. So I'm choosing Nola. Nola is definitely the most progressive main character out of the 3. And then the next one was same question, but with Judy and Chantel. Chantel had 44% and Judy had 56%. Again, I disagree with you guys. I feel like Chantel would be more progressive than Judy. Chantel was like independent woman, like trying to be an independent girl. I feel like she was thinking about things her peers weren't thinking of. She wasn't afraid to march to the beat of her own drum. She didn't care what people thought. I feel like Chantel, even though she was a literal child, she was more progressive than Judy to me. I love Judy, love her, but I gotta disagree with the majority. How do you feel about sex positivity themes in films about Black women? Your options were don't like it or it's needed. It's needed had 89% and don't like it had 11%. I'm curious about the people who said they don't feel like they need that kind of film. For people who voted that, if you're listening, please let me know. Like, I'm kind of curious on why y'all feel like those kind of movies are not important. I think we need to see Black womanhood from all aspects. So I definitely agree with the majority on this one. Then I asked, do you want to see more works like this from Hollywood? And your choices were just like all 3 of the movies, basically. And I had 87% yes, 13% no. Again, the no's, I want to know why. But yeah, I mean, of course I want to see more works like this from Hollywood. I want to see more just stories in general from the perspective of young Black women, young Black girls, for sure. So definitely give us more of this. The next question was, what did these movies mean to you growing up? I had 22% for not much and 78% for staple films. I think that the people who voted not much, I think you guys are just too young, no shade, like love y'all, but I think y'all are too young. So maybe you guys don't get the impact of these films, but I feel like people my age and those older than me, it just means more to them. So it makes sense. I understand. Y'all don't have to explain y'all answer, by the way. But I get it. I think if you're like younger than a certain age, like these movies mean absolutely nothing. And you might have never even seen any of them, really. Then I asked, which is your favorite and why? And I'm just going to share a few answers from it. So I had one person say, Girl 6 is my favorite because she gave feminine fierceness. Please make me Anon. So she's saying to keep her name anonymous. But yes, girl, I totally agree. I love the Girl 6 movie. She was very, very feminine, but she was just very, very just about her business. She was a hustler. I love seeing movies like that. So I totally agree. I had another person who said Just Another Girl is a great film for young girls who are 14 and up. Totally agree with that. I cannot agree more. Like I said earlier, I do feel like they should show that movie in sex ed classes, health classes. Like that's a more accurate depiction of what it's like to get pregnant as a teenager. Then I had another person say Just Another Girl on the IRT, watched it with my older cousins from New York, and I just thought that's how teenage life was. I think in a sense it is. Like, of course, everybody doesn't have experienced teenage pregnancy. But I think that kind of like wanting that independence from your family, having responsibilities, all of that is very relevant. And I do think that's kind of how teenage life is, especially if you are a person who grew up in an urban city. Yeah, that's a big part. Chantel's life was very, very relatable to me. Like I said, I'm an only child and I had a single mom, but just like wanting that kind of independence and like running the streets with your friends and stuff, running around, that was very relatable to me. What are your other favorite movies about Black girlhood? And I'm going to share the answers I saw the most. Eve's Bayou, of course, Crooklyn, Our Song, Pariah, and Miss Juneteenth. I haven't seen Pariah in a long time, but definitely agree. Miss Juneteenth, I've never seen. I'm going to have to look that one up. Eve's Bayou is another like cult favorite film that I feel like only Black people have seen. Love that movie. Crooklyn, like I said, is my favorite Spike Lee film. And Our Song, that is, I believe that's Kerry Washington's very first film. I haven't watched that one in a while either. I need to watch that. But I think if you want to watch more movies about Black girlhood, and just growing up as a Black girl, those are really good movies to watch. I would highly recommend these. I'll repeat them. Eve's Bayou, Crooklyn, Our Song, and Pariah. I'm going to add another one that I really like, My Funny Valentine. I remember my grandma used to force me and my girl cousins to watch that. Miss Juneteenth movie, like I said, I've never seen it, but I plan on watching it. So if you guys have seen it, message me about it. I will definitely watch it. But yeah, so that is pretty much the poll, y'all. What did you guys think of the episode? We're not done yet, but we're done talking about films. I hope y'all liked this topic. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Like I said, this was one that I was really, really excited about. I wanted to do this one from jump. So I hope y'all liked it. But now I'm going to get into some announcements for Vixen. Okay, y'all. So this is the season finale, as you guys know. For those who are familiar with the show, y'all know after the podcast ends for the season, we usually take a short break until we come back for a new season. And for new listeners, this is mainly because the episodes take a lot of research, and I always want them to be the absolute best they can be. And I like to allow time for me to read a book that I need to read, or for me to interview someone if I want to try to interview someone or get someone to like come on and share their thoughts. So I just try to allow a little bit of time. Typically the breaks are 4 to 5 weeks, but this one is going to be a little bit longer, guys, unfortunately, but it's for a good reason. And it is because your girl is applying for grad school. I have a lot of essays to write for grad school, so I do need a little bit of extra time off to be able to get new episodes ready for you guys for season 4, as well as get this grad school application in, because your girl is like, stressed about it. But anyway, I need a little bit of extra time to be able to make sure those essays are good, and to also make sure that you guys have great episodes for next season. I'm really, really excited about it, about going to grad school, and I'm really excited to come back for season 4. So I actually did another poll with you guys where I told you guys to just ask me questions, and I will go ahead and share some of the questions and I'll give my answers. So the first question was, how did you decide to do the podcast? So I believe I've answered this before, but I'll answer it in short version again. So basically, I was watching music videos with my then boyfriend. I'm not the kind of person that keeps up with current music videos that much. So a lot of them I had never seen, and I was really, really taken aback by the lack of Black women. I had already had the page, the Vixen Memoirs, but after seeing that kind of made me realize that there needs to be more done than just posting photos. I need there to be a story behind those photos. Like, who are these women? Where did they come from? What was their process like? How did they get to where they got? What were their hopes? What were their dreams? What were their aspirations? All of that stuff. I felt like it was important to have like an oral history of it, as well as a visual history of it. So it just became bigger to me than just posting pictures. And I wanted to make sure that I passed down those memories of seeing women who look like you, view in current videos to the younger generation, because I be looking at, when I do see these new videos, I be really shocked by the lack of black women. It'll be like the blackest kind of song. I know I said this in a past episode, but it'll be like the blackest song and no black women in the video. So I just felt like I wanted to make sure that things were documented in a way that was more than just visual, basically. The next question that someone asks is, am I too good for the Cheesecake Factory? Hell no. Absolutely not. I love the Cheesecake Factory. Actually, I go there a lot with my nephews, but yeah, I love the Cheesecake Factory. The Cheesecake Factory, you can get whatever you want from there. You know, you can get Italian food, Mexican food, a burger, a steak. You can get whatever you want. So yes, who don't like the Cheesecake Factory? Of course I like the Cheesecake Factory, and I'm not above it at all. Next question was, what are we reading next for the book club? I won't give exact titles, but the book club lately, for those who are not familiar, we have been reading a lot of like memoirs. We've been reading a lot of like Black urban literature, classics, the Fly Girls, all of that. So we've been reading those right now. And of course, I love that. And I want to stick with that because I feel like a lot of my book club members have never read those kinds of books. And I'm like, what? When I hear it. But that's another thing that I feel like is important to pass down, like The Coldest Winter Ever, Fly Girl, a lot of those books. I got those from my auntie. Like my auntie gave me those books to read as a young girl. So it's like those books get passed down and I will give them to my kid to read as well. So I think it's important that you guys read those books that like defined Black girlhood again. So I do love that we're reading those and we're going to continue to read those kinds of books, but I also want to switch it up a little bit. Just with like some feminist works, more nonfiction works as well. Like we're definitely going to switch up the course a little bit. Right now for May, we're reading Bling by Erica Kennedy, which has been really, really good. Like this is y'all, if you're not a part of the book club, sign up now. This is a really, really good book, but after May, I think I'm going to switch up the type of book we read a little bit. So the June book hopefully will be something a little bit different, just, you know, a little palate cleanse or something like that to switch us up from the usual. And for anyone who wants to join the book club, all you have to do is go to thevixenmemoirs.com. The link is in my show notes. It's also in my Instagram bio. You just scroll down, you sign up for the book club, first name, last name, email, go to your email and verify the subscription and you will automatically be a part of the book club. That's all you have to do. I will send you the free PDF for the book that we're reading for the month and you're a part of it right then and there. We do polls on Instagram talking about the book. We do an Instagram live show every month just for us to gather and just talk about the book and like, you know, what we read and just discuss it. It's really, really fun. So please join it if you have not already. The next and final question is, what is next for the Vixen Memoirs? So like I said, y'all, I am going on a little bit of an extended break, just to, you know, do grad school, do that application, and also get some really, really good episodes up for y'all. So what is next is season 4. Season 4, I am really going to try to switch up my topics, talk about things I ain't never talked about before, subjects, topics I ain't never talked about before. I have been reading so many of you guys' recommendations and suggestions for podcast subjects, and I am taking them all. You guys have given me some really, really good stuff, and I'm so excited to start diving in and getting in my research bag, going in my hole. You know, I'm not going to be recording audio and stuff, so I'm going to be doing a lot of research. I'm going to be stuck in my office for the next couple of weeks, but I'm really, really excited. I want to say thank you guys for all the great suggestions. So you have season 4 to look forward to. For all of my new listeners, I've got a huge influx of new listeners thanks to the Shade Room reposting an image from the Instagram page. So welcome to all of you guys. I hate that you guys came on when the season is literally ending, and I'm sorry about that, but y'all got 30 episodes to binge until I come back. I promise I'll be back and better, and I cannot wait for y'all to hear the new stuff. Really, really excited about it. The show will be back for our first episode of season 4 on July 7th. So 7/7, save the date. We will be back, but do not worry, y'all. This is what is also coming next for Vixen. I may not be podcasting regularly, but we're going to have ramped up content on Instagram like we usually do when we go on breaks. We're going to be doing more Instagram lives. So not just the book club lives, we'll also be doing lives for different topics. I am working on one that I will announce in the next few weeks. I'm not going to say it yet. But just like, how we did the live on the sex tape scandals, we're going to do more stuff like that on different topics while the podcast is on hiatus. So we have that to look forward to. For anyone who hasn't seen our lives, feel free to go to the Instagram page and swipe over to the IGTV section. I save all of them down, so feel free to watch them so you can get a feel for the kind of content we be doing. Like I said, we be cutting up in there. It's really, really fun. So if you have the chance to catch one of our lives, make sure you come on in. So we're going to be doing more Instagram lives. The book club will still be going on. And the last thing, and the thing I'm most excited about, drum roll please, Vixen is coming out with merch, y'all. We're coming with the merch, y'all. I am so excited for the merch. Now, it's going to be a few more weeks before the merch comes out, but y'all, I'm really, really excited about it, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. I'm just over the moon about it, and I can't wait to put the merch out. It's going to take a few more weeks for it to come out, but I promise y'all it's going to be good. Y'all going to love it. I'm so excited. I believe we will have pieces for both men and women. We will have unisex pieces. But yeah, merch is coming, y'all. Yes. I am so excited. So that is what you guys have to look forward to from me. More Instagram content, Instagram lives, Instagram posts, Instagram stories. We still gonna be doing polls like we always do because y'all love the polls. I am going to build out some more poll content for y'all. We got to do some more polls because y'all love it, and I love doing them with you guys. We're going to be doing the more Instagram lives. We got the book club. Come join us, get your read on, and then the merch is coming in a few weeks. Yes, ma'am. Oh my God. Now, let me just say before this comes to an end, thank you guys so much for an amazing third season of this podcast. Never ever thought that I would get the support that I have received from you guys. I ain't gonna get emotional, I promise. But I never thought I would get the support that I have received from you guys in such a short time. I haven't been podcasting a year yet. The 1 year anniversary is on August 2nd. But just to receive the amount of support, and all of the nice messages and comments that you guys leave me, it is really important to me. And I want you guys to know that I do not take it for granted. And the support that I've received in the short amount of time that I've been doing this show, and being consistent on Instagram, it shows me that this is something that we needed. This is something that we needed to talk about. This is the kind of history that we needed to have a forum and a space to discuss. And I'm so grateful for the community that you guys have built with me. And I'm just so excited to see where we go from here. And that is why I was saying in the episode, like, I can't wait to see more works from Black female film creators. That work is just so needed. And I know that not only because I see it and observe it in other people, I see it with the support from my podcast. And I think about it. Some of the women that I've talked about on the show, I'm like, what if there was a movie about her directed by a Black woman? I just realized that it's very important that our stories are told. And I'm so glad that you guys get as much out of it as I get out of it doing this show and doing the book club and everything that we do together. I'm just happy that you guys get a lot out of it. And I'm happy y'all are here with me. So this is getting a little long. I'm not going to ramble anymore. Again, the podcast will be back on July 7th, 2021. I can't wait to be back podcasting for y'all, but I'm taking a little bit of extra time. 1, applying to grad school, and 2, because I want to make sure season 4 is bomb. Okay. Season 4 is going to be bomb. I promise. The merch is coming out. We still got the book club going, the Instagram. We on there every single day. Just come through. If you miss me, come through to the Instagram. Come through to the book club, and make sure y'all keep an eye out for that merch that is coming very, very soon. So again, thank you guys for listening. I love you guys, and I will see y'all on July 7th. Bye. Thank you for listening to Vixen. If you liked today's episode, don't forget to leave a review. If you have a submission, feel free to email VIXENPODCAST@gmail.com. We'll be back on July 7th, 2021 with an all new episode.